Okay, hello everybody. Today we're here in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 in the Piper Comanche 250. We have a 110 nautical mile flight from Sierra Yankee Romeo, Syracuse, Hancock to Alpha Victor Papa, Wilkes-Barre, Scranton. We'll be flying with live weather, and we do have some weather to deal with today, so this flight will be IFR. We'll also be doing a full cold and dark startup and walk around with the amazing Piper Comanche by AccuSim. Should be an awesome flight, so let's hop into the pilot seat and get started. Alright, you can see the sky's a bit dark, which is why we're flying IFR. We've got CFI Monica with us, but no backseat passenger. Let's get started. So we'll remove the control locks. Then we'll head down here, turn on the master, and we'll turn on all of the switches for the walk around. Now we'll head down here and get our fuel valves to left and right. That looks good. Now we can check our fuel gauges. We've got 3/4 of a tank left, right. Go to the walk around page and climb out. We'll check that our right flap is secure. It is. Our right aileron moves freely. And I can see that the nav light's not on, so I missed that when I turned on the switches. Let's climb back into the plane, head down here, and it's actually that rotary black switch. That's why I missed it. So we'll turn that to the right. That'll also bring up the panel lights, which is good because it's a bit dark out. Now we can climb back out and check if our nav light's on, and it is. Next, we'll open up the wingtip fuel tank. And I love with head tracking that you can lean in and just peer into it, and you can see the blue of the avgas down there. So it's not full. We've got a gauge for that inside. Pull a fuel sample. And there's no contamination or water. I'm actually curious how you get contamination and water in the sim. The landing light is on and blinding. We'll remove the tie down. Head over to the wing fuel tank, open that up, peer inside of that and look for gas. And there it is. And again, not full, 3/4. Never trust the gauges. All right, we'll remove our chocks. We'll pull another fuel sample here. And again, no water. Water would be on the bottom and be clear, and I don't see any contamination. Close that up. Head to the front, check the spinner and the prop. That all looks good. The filter is clear and clean. Open up the oil, and I love checking the oil here. And I was very curious when I started. I had a used aircraft and the oil was black, and I was curious if it would be lighter when it was new, and it is. See that? So this is very real. Oil starts out very, very transparent and kind of a very light brown and becomes darker, right, as it gets contaminated and ages. Okay, we'll open up the other wing fuel tank. Look inside. That looks good. Pull the chocks from the left wing. Remove the tie down and the pitot cover, and we turned on the pitot tube, and there it is. If you touch it, it glows red to show that it's hot. We got the landing light working, nav light's working. We'll open up the wing tip fuel tank, peer inside, and see that it does have blue avgas inside of it. We'll pull another fuel sample. And again, no water, no contamination. We'll check that our aileron moves freely. It does. Our flap is secure. Our static port is clear. Remove the tail tie down. Check the stabilator. Moves freely, and the rear nav lights are on and the antennas are intact. Our other static port is clear, and we've got some baggage here. So let's open up the baggage door, and we've got to click on each one to load it up, which I love. Close the door, lock it, secure it, and climb back into the airplane. Let's get the door closed. Excuse me, Monica. That mechanical sound you hear is not the fuel pump, but the motor for the beacon, which is a nice touch. All right, we'll go back to the checklist. So we'll head back down here and turn off all of our switches. Then we'll turn off the master switch. Next, we'll get the parking brake set. And to do this, you need to step on the toe brakes. Then when you pull the parking brake, it kind of clamps onto where the toe brakes are to keep it at that point. That all looks good. Now we'll make sure that our circuit breakers are in. We'll check our fuel selectors. There are two left and right. We'll turn on the rotating beacon, so when we turn on the master, people know that we are about to start the aircraft. We'll get the mixture into full rich. We'll crack the throttle. We'll push the prop in full forward, verify the carb heat is in. Next, we'll go down here and turn on the master switch. Turn on the yellow fuel pump switch. We'll head over to the fuel pressure gauge and watch it rise. There it is. It's in the green. It's topping out at the top of the green, and we are peaked for fuel flow, so we can turn the fuel pump back off. Now we can prime it. So we'll unlock the primer and pull it out. 3 to 5 strokes. Next, we've got the keys in the magnetos. We'll turn those to both. Clear prop. We'll verify that the prop is cleared. Beat on the brakes and push the ignition button. And that started right up. That's awesome. Okay, we'll verify that we do have oil pressure. You can see it's in the green. Everything looks stable. So now we can lean the mixture for ground operations. And that is the end of the engine start checklist. Moving on to the before taxi checklist. So we'll get the avionics on, and now we can plug in our headset. And when you plug in the headset, you'll notice it gets quieter, which is nice, but there's also noise canceling. So we'll turn on the noise canceling. You can see the light come on there, and it's even quieter. Close up our window. Beautiful. We're running with the GTN 750. So we'll load up our flight plan, make sure that it is accurate. There it is. That's our IFR flight plan. Everything looks good. Now go to the frequencies page and we'll dial in the HOTAS next and get the weather. We're running with live weather today, which isn't great, and we're also running with live ATC. So we're going to listen to the actual current HOTAS for Syracuse, which should match up with the live weather that the game is generating. And while that's starting up, we'll go and get clearance delivery into standby because we're going to need to call them next for our IFR clearance.
Temperature 2.17, altimeter 3004.
Dial in the 3004 for the altimeter.
Bird activity to Syracuse Airport. Notice the emissions 5G modems and effect to Syracuse. For further information, contact flight services. Advise initial contact, you have Juliet. Syracuse Airport information, Juliet, 1354 Zulu, wind variable at 4, visibility 10, sky conditions, ceiling 1,700 broken, 5,500 broken, temperature 2.17, altimeter
1,700 broken is what is making this an IFR flight. Visibility is fine at 10, and winds aren't too bad with variable at 4. So next I'll open up ForeFlight and take you through the flight brief. Alright, the weather is a complete mess. See, we've got purple polygons. If we click on those are airmets for mountain obscuration and IFR. So you can see red and blue blocks. Those are the cloud ceilings, and the red indicates IFR. Blue is marginal VFR. It's in hundreds of feet from where the clouds start. So as we head to our destination of AVP, still the same, a whole bunch of red blocks around it. So cloud ceilings 800, 900 feet. Make this an IFR flight. So we'll switch to the IFR low airways and we'll turn off the SIGMETs and airmets so we can see the map. We're departing from Syracuse, which is a class Charlie. We're expecting radar vectors to TUMPS. That'll put us on the Victor 29 airway, and then we're staying on the Victor 29 airway until we get to AVP. Now the airway itself bends and turns, so we've got a turn at Corda, and then we've got another turn coming up at the Binghamton VOR. You can see the minimum en route altitude is 4,000 for the initial segment, and then our second segment has 3,600. We're going to fly at 5,000 for this flight to keep us above our minimum en route altitudes. In terms of departures and arrivals, if we head back to Syracuse, Syracuse does have a standard instrument departure, which we might get assigned, And if we pull up the plate, it's Syracuse 2, which is just essentially fly runway heading, climb and maintain 4,000, expect file 10 minutes after departure, radar vectors to your initial fix. So we'll probably get that with our radar vectors to our initial fix. AVP does have an ILS for runway 4. If visibility is good when we arrive at LECOR, we'll request just a visual approach, but if it is not, then we'll plan on the ILS for runway 4 with an initial approach fix of HEAP. We've already got our clearance. Let's call up ground and get our taxi instructions. Syracuse ground, November 7832 Papa, Freeman Jet Center, taxi with Juliet. Taxi and hold short, runway 28 via Yankee Mike Lima across runway 33, November 7832 Papa.
353, contact departure, good day.
I don't think we'd be parked at the Jet Center in real life, but unfortunately that's the only general aviation spot that there is at this Payway Airport. Everything else is for jetliners. We do have good signage there. There goes Juliet. We're on Yankee now. There's Mike, so we're going to hang a right here onto Mike. And we've got crossing instructions for runway 33, so then we'll taxi across Lima and stop at 28, and we'll just do our run up there with the hold short for 28. Alright, RPMs are to 2,000. We'll do our mag check. Mag left. Got a good drop. Back to both. Mag right. Good drop, same amount of drop. Back to both. Next we'll check the carb heat. Got a carbureted engine, pull the carb heat out. And we've got a good drop for the carb heat. Put that back in. And now we get to exercise the prop, and I love the sounds. We're running with live traffic and live ATC, and I love when they sync up. So in live ATC, in real life, a Bonanza just got cleared to depart runway 28, and there it is. That's the real life Bonanza that's taking off right now. And if you listen to him, you can hear his radio calls. And he's up. Alright, we'll give Tower a call. Syracuse Tower, November 7832 Papa, holding short runway 28 at Lima. Cleared for departure, runway 28 at Lima, November 7832 Papa. Alright, game on. Get ourselves lined up here. We're going to rotate 85, climb 105.
So maintain 2,600.
2,600, SkyWest 5574.
Alright, bring in the throttle.
Number 55449er, Syracuse.
Gauges look good. RPM looks good. Airspeed's alive. And it's pulling really hard to the right, so I'm putting in a ton of left rudder, which is a little weird. Rotate, and we're up still with a lot of left rudder. You would expect to be putting a lot of right rudder in here. Got our gear up with our positive rate. A little bumpy for winds variable at 4. Got our VY climb, we'll keep that climb in and maintain runway heading. We can use the autopilot to help us now, so we'll turn it on and get it into heading mode. And that'll let us track our radar vectors to our initial fix. And then once we get there, we can put it into track mode and actually track what's in nav 1. And the autopilot will beep at you if your trim isn't set up correctly, so we'll adjust the trim. There we go. We are looking good. And we're approaching our initial fix and moving into track mode. So let's sit back and enjoy that awesome flight simulator scenery. Alright, as we get everything shut down, I'll take you through the debrief. So it's awesome to be able to fly IFR or VFR depending upon what the real world weather is doing. And sometimes it's nice not to have a perfectly clear sky blue day so that you can get into the soup and challenge yourself with an IFR flight like we did today. The Piper Comanche is my favorite aircraft. This is just a work of art and I love all of the realism to it, being able to go around and, put the chocks and the tie downs back at the conclusion of the flight like we did at the beginning of the flight, and maintain the engine, do all the maintenance on it. I love it. It's a living, breathing aircraft, so be sure to check it out. I hope you enjoy realistic general aviation flights like this. If you do, be sure to click that like button, leave me a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks, as always, for flying along with me, and stay tuned for further flight adventures.